Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. I'm here with a very distinguished gentleman whom I've been trying to get on an interview for a few weeks, and somehow things kept slipping. He has a very busy schedule, and finally the stars lined up, and here we are on Labor Day.
Right.
Welcome to PGurus channel, Vivek.
It's finally good to catch up. Sri.
Thank you so much. Professor Vivek Wadhwa, is I don't know where to start. He has so many different he has got so many different accolades that most of you probably have seen him on CNBC. If not, you might have read his columns on Washington Post, New York Times, Fortune magazine, Forbes, Economist. I don't know. There are I can just keep going. And he also won some special awards, and I don't want to get this thing wrong, so I'm going to read it out. In 2012, Professor Wadhwa won the US government awarded distinguished recognition as an outstanding American by choice. And in 2013, the Foreign Policy magazine honored him as one of the top 100 world thinkers. So, Professor Wadhwa, where did it all begin?
So I used to be a tech guy. I started off as a computer programmer. Literally, that's when I went to school in the 70s. I learned about computer programming. It fascinated me. I couldn't believe that you actually get paid to do this stuff. And that's where I started my career.
It was like a fish taking to water.
Yeah, and I love computer programming. And eventually, I was at First Boston, the investment bank in New York City, and they had a very ambitious project to rewrite all their systems, and ended up developing the architecture for that. The technology was so successful that IBM came to us to fund the creation of a startup company.
Wow.
And I became an entrepreneur by chance.
Wow.
And that company did very well. Within 5 years, we took it public, $100 million revenue, spectacular IPO.
And when was this?
In the 90s.
Wow.
And then I left that company, started my own company. And that company was doing really well until it wasn't doing well, until the dot-com bubble burst and hit us. I turned the company around, and then I broke because I was working so hard. I've lost sight of the need to moderate myself. I became obsessed, like tech entrepreneurs do, with making money, taking the company public and so on. And that broke me. And I was a near-death experience, my massive heart attack.
My God.
And then the question was, what do I do now? So my wife says, Vivek, you always wanted to help the world. You always wanted to teach, inspire the next generation. Why don't you become a teacher? And that's when the light went off, and I ended up joining Duke University, and I became a professor. I started researching, writing, and doing a lot of things, and life has taken me in its own direction.
And now you are a fellow in Harvard and
Harvard Law School and at Carnegie Mellon University in Silicon
right here
Valley.
in the Silicon Valley. That's a fantastic campus. I've
Life
been there.
makes its own plans. You just have to have the right goals and right ambitions, and do all you can for others, and life rewards you. That's what my experience is.
And before all this, when you were growing up, you were born in India, right?
I was born in India. My father was in the foreign service, so we were always traveling.
I see.
I've never really lived in India. So,
but your accent is still very Indian. I mean, you never changed that.
I mean, Indians don't, think I'm very Indian, and Americans think I'm Indian. So, it is what it is. I mean, I've been careful not to adapt a fake accent. A lot of people try to be Americans, or I was in Australia to try to be Australians and put on these stupid accents. I don't believe in that nonsense. You are what you are.
This is something that I think it goes by individual. So
people who have inferiority complexes put on fake accents. Really, that's what it boils down to. I have no sympathy for them. Look at the way you're dressed. You're wearing a kurta pajama. It's the first time I've seen anyone wearing that, and I'm proud of you for doing that.
Oh, thank you.
You are what you are. You believe in your heritage,
right?
And you're not ashamed to show it,
right?
That's the way we should be. Why should we be ashamed in any way? We should be proud of our heritage,
right?
And we should make the most of what we have.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. But it took me some years to realize this awareness, that this is what I am, this is what I'm going to be. Because I'll give you a simple example. Back to what you just said. When I'm participating in debates in on Indian television in prime time, if I'm the first speaker, I'm almost always starting with some sort of accent here, and then I slowly drift into the Indian accent. But if I'm not the first one, if somebody else is already there and then I'm hearing them, then I'm straight back on. This is all those adjustments. I'm trying to get rid of it. It's not put on. Please forgive me if somebody thinks that I put it on.
The message here is be what you are, be proud of it.
Absolutely.
And make the most of what God has given you.
Absolutely. Professor Wadhwa, I read recently an article by you on Facebook and WhatsApp, and what they should be really doing to combat some of these fake news items and so on and so forth. Now, readers, you can we will put the link as part
Go
of
to
the video.
wadhwa.com, wadhwa.com. You can read a whole bunch of articles
Yes,
because I've been
exactly.
brutal about the tech industry.
Right.
You basically started another discussion which has to be explained. You know, I'm the greatest fan of technology. I mean, I believe in it. I believe it has the ability to solve humanity's problems. We can do a lot of good in it. Yet living here in Menlo Park, where Facebook is headquartered, very near where Google is headquartered and so on, I see my friends turning evil. I see them being obsessed with making money. And social media is something which should have been uplifting humanity. 2014, I think it was 2014, I wrote an article praising Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, you know, because Facebook was now educating people, inspiring people. It was bringing communities together. It had great, noble goals. And then what happened? It went to Zuckerberg's head.
Right.
And he started monetizing the one thing that should have made us happier and healthier, and we should have brought communities together. He started weaponizing his products so he could get filthy rich. It's not that Zuckerberg needs more than, you know, a couple of houses that he has, or, you know, more than enough to put his children through school.
Right.
He became obsessed with making money at all costs. He became blind to the ways of the world. And after acquiring WhatsApp also, Jan Koum and his team had good intentions here. They were going to build the first, they were going to build an ad-free platform. They were going to stick to their principles and build something which provided value to the world. And WhatsApp was wonderful. Look at what it did to India. It provided people with connectivity. It
Right.
changed so many. It was a wonderful thing. Until greed and obsession with making money took over, and these people started weaponizing it. So by weaponizing it, they impacted the U.S. elections. It led to Facebook the United Nations has accused them of facilitating genocide in Burma. And in India, it's been ripping people apart. It's being used. So you have now a technology, WhatsApp, that was meant for text messaging, private text messaging, trying to be a social network. So they added all these features to it, which weaponized it.
Yes.
WhatsApp is destructive. I really think that certain features of it, like the group chat feature, all of this should be banned. The Indian government should threaten to arrest the executives of WhatsApp and Facebook until they take the flaws out of it. That's how serious this problem is.
I think from what I have been following Ravi Shankar Prasad's visit to the Silicon Valley, I think it happened last week. And I think what I heard is that WhatsApp agreed to several conditions of the Indian government, except maybe the encryption part. Where
They didn't agree to anything. They were basically
Really?
doing what Zuckerberg does. This is Zuckerberg's modus operandi. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I did wrong here. We'll do good in the future. That's what WhatsApp is doing.
I see.
And the Indian minister is, probably a very smart guy, but he doesn't know the ways of the valley. He doesn't know how my friends over here work, and these are my friends I'm talking about. Okay,
Right.
Like I said, literally we're in Menlo Park,
Right.
ground zero of all this innovation.
Right.
So these people come and hang out at the same Starbucks we're at.
Right.
Like I said, this is where these guys. So I know what these people are all about. I have dinner with them. We often have drinks together. So I know how they're thinking, what they think. It's just the same apology game. And here, Indian ministers, even Modi, when he met Zuckerberg, it was like he was looking for the selfies with Zuckerberg because, like other human beings, they're enamored by these movie stars from Silicon Valley. Right? They've had enough Bollywood. Silicon Valley is more fun for them. Right? So they meet them and then they get blindsided. The same way it happened in Congress over here. It's not just Indian leaders who are ignorant. The same thing happened when Zuckerberg was testifying over here. The senators, the congressmen couldn't take him on, because he's able to outsmart them, outtalk them, and they can't possibly understand technology. So I don't blame them.
That's right.
That's the game that's being played here.
Now, so who's to bell the cat? If these people give you all the right noises, but then they go back to same old ways.
That is why I've been writing about it. My articles have been very, very controversial. Not only in India, but also here I've been publishing them on VentureBeat. And they provoke fury from people over here. I even had one Indian function over here at Tamarind Restaurant in Palo Alto. We had a bunch of Indian who's who of India, and then we had Neeraj Arora from WhatsApp over there. And I told Neeraj what I thought. They wanted me to speak, so I spoke, and I told Neeraj exactly what I thought they were doing wrong. He stormed out of there.
Oh my God.
And then the Indians were angry at me
Because-
for offending, their movie star, Neeraj Arora. The guy's just a low-level, business development guy at WhatsApp. He didn't design the product, develop it. Yet Indians look up to him because he's an Indian,
Right.
And so it's sort of, and I was really angry at some of the Indian executives over here for sucking up to WhatsApp. Let's, call them up for what they are. They are monetizing, weaponizing social media. They have been responsible for more than 2 or 3 dozen deaths in India alone.
Oh my God.
So how can we forgive them for this? How can we let them get away with this?
Now, the other challenge that is happening now, Professor Wadhwa, is viewing habits of people. People are so habituated to getting up in the morning and looking at either Facebook or one of their favorite social media platforms of choice. And so advertisers look to them and say, okay, instead of advertising on a particular website, if I advertise on social media, maybe I'll get better traction, right? Now, the thing that advertisers do not know, and I'm including myself in this because I've tried this thing without much success, is the algorithms that these guys are doing to make your message go viral. These things are changing by the day sometimes.
It's become an echo chamber. So what they do is that they analyze what you're interested in and they feed you more of that. So if you believe, if you're in India, if you believe in the BJP or you believe in the Congress, they realize that you are, they feed you the same propaganda. So in your filter, in your world, in your filter bubble, you believe everything that you're being told, whether it's true or false. And then by learning everything that they can about you using AI algorithms, they're able to target you. So if anyone wants to send you misinformation, they know exactly what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, what your views are. They reinforce the most negative views of you. So what happens over here, Facebook gets richer and richer and richer because it's taking money from the people who want to reach you.
Right.
And you're getting dumber and dumber and dumber because this technology has been weaponized. This is what it was not meant to be this way. Social media was meant to give us differing points of view, open our minds up, to educate us, to inspire us, to make the world a better place. And yet it's become this mess, thanks to our friends here in Menlo Park. I love Silicon Valley. I'm a patriotic American and all of these things. But when I see the damage that's being done by my friends, I'm horrified, I'm shocked. I have to speak up.
I have been trying to inculcate the habit of my readers to say, just like you go to Facebook, go to PGurus.com landing page. Just like a newspaper lands on your doorstep in the morning, just go and look at the website, because then you don't have this filter of a social media platform coming in between. You think you get news on a particular site, go and get it there.
But people are lazy. They're like you. You wake up in the morning, you want to go to Facebook and you believe all the garbage you're reading over there. So you have your limited friends who are like you, and then you have Facebook that's pumping you information. You're getting filled with misinformation.
Not only that,
you admitted yourself that you get information from Facebook, right?
Oh yeah.
And here you are, the P-Guru.
My dear man, what choice do I have? I'm trying really hard to grow my business, and I see that I have a bigger bank. At least I had.
Right.
I don't know if I am reviewing a lot lot of my
We are
strategies.
all guilty. We're all imperfect.
Right.
We are all human beings. That's what the reality is.
Yeah, I'll give you a personal experience. WhatsApp, used to probably, if I put an article in my website and it kind of goes viral, get somebody who reads it. You know what they do in India? They'll just copy paste that, and then they'll put it on their groups, and then it goes viral.
And they don't get it back to you because WhatsApp, there's a defect in WhatsApp.
Right.
That it doesn't, and you don't even know who's forwarded the message. This is a serious design flaw in WhatsApp. That's why I'm saying this thing should be outlawed.
Right.
Because it's a destructive product.
Now, so what I did was, at some point, I disabled copy paste. So they couldn't do that. But people are not happy. I said, listen, I am being your ambassador, getting it across to all these people. I said, I may be able to read your site, but my friends cannot. So you see the point, right? So I just, okay, fine.
The problem here isn't you, it isn't the user, it's WhatsApp. It shouldn't allow this. Right. When you copy and paste from Times of India, Economic Times, for example, it gives you a link to the article, right? So that you have a link there.
Right.
So that the technology is there for because none of these publications you won't mind copying and pasting.
Right.
But you want to make sure that you get credit where credit is
for
due.
that, right?
So there are technologies, except it's a rigged system.
Okay. Moving on, Professor Wadhwa.
By the way, my book, Your Happiness Was Hacked, it's available in India as well as here. It details the tricks that the tech industry uses to program us and to hijack our happiness. There's an Indian version available. It's not that expensive.
Yeah.
So people should read it.
Absolutely. And in fact, what I will do is, as part of this video, I will put the links for that, direct link, and also your website. I got a lot of information from your blog, amazing stuff that you have time to keep that updated. Professor Wadhwa, I'm going to ask you a question, kind of alluding, you're also a futurist. I remember one program in CNBC where you were really going after Apple 6 months ago, I think, for not having thought about virtual reality, which was,
it was about
Oculus.
a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I was saying that Apple hasn't innovated, and even now, the only new invention they've had is the AirPod. I love the AirPods, except they haven't had any new invention.
In a while.
So Apple has been able to maximize what they have, build bigger screens, smaller screens, add a few features in there, but they haven't had any world-changing inventions.
Right.
Steve Jobs basically was, was long gone.
Right.
And Apple needs to wake up and do something. Right.
So, as technology becomes more and more easier for people to use things, I'm struck by what Warren Buffett said to CNBC, I think maybe a couple of years ago. He said, 100 years ago, if there were two farmers who were neighbors, if one had an IQ of 130, the other one had an IQ of 80, no matter how better a farming the 130 IQ guy did, the best he could be hoping to make is maybe 10-15% more than the IQ of the 80 guy. But today, what Buffett said was, today, the 130 IQ guy, if he's prepared to work hard, and if he happens to be lucky, he's going to make 100, 1,000 times more than his friend who might be a little bit less than IQ.
So it's more than IQ. It's also a matter of the connections you have and luck, as you said, because a lot of the people here in Silicon Valley who made it big, they didn't make it big because they were smarter than anyone else. In fact, the average IQ of Silicon Valley is probably the same average IQ as Jaipur or Bangalore or anywhere else. It's just that they happen to be lucky and they happen to have access to resources that others don't. Hi, we're doing an interview on. In fact, join us here. Come on. No, join us here.
You can sit down. Namaskara. Bunny. We all know each other. I'm just wrapping up.
Right.
Last question.
It's luck, timing, and opportunity. I mean.
Well, it's great to know. But my follow-up question to you was, in that interview, Buffett also talked about universal basic income. What are your thoughts on that?
America is moving away from socialism. Right? We're taking away from the poor and giving to the rich.
But not if Bernie Sanders comes back to power.
It's not practical because people want to work. In the future, technology will take jobs away in America, in the West. In India, there'll be many new jobs created, but people aren't going to be happy to sit home and just be given free money. They want a purpose in life. They want to do something. This is what our identity is based on, is what we do. When you meet someone, you don't say what universal basic income you get. You basically want to know what they do, and that's how you judge them. So our social structures are based on our own sense of achievement in work. Work disappears. We're not going to be happy sitting back and taking money. So basic income might be a solution for the jobless future, but there's a lot more needed. And this is what I'm researching at Harvard Law School now. This is what my project is going to be, to try to figure out what can we do to mitigate the negative impacts of technology.
This is again a slightly controversial topic, but I'm going to ask you this question. The Silicon Valley doesn't suffer from discrimination in terms of race, but I've heard, if I read LinkedIn murmurs, that there is active age discrimination.
Age and gender. If you're over 40 here, you're going to find a very hard time getting a job. If you're over 50, forget it. You might as well go into retirement because of deliberate age discrimination. It's not that you're not better after 50. You're probably far more capable of doing a job. However, you're making more money, and these little children over here have the vision in their head that only they can innovate. So big problem over here. If you happen to be a woman, you're probably more competent than the average guy because you had to work very hard to get to where you are, to get the level of education, to get anywhere in business, yet you're going to be discriminated against. So Silicon Valley is highly imperfect. It's not acceptable situation.
So how do people over 40, women especially, and men over 50?
What has to happen is that people have to wake up and realize it. Those who do invest in older entrepreneurs will do better. So it's really a matter of economics and common sense.
A lot of stuff to ponder for our viewers. and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, Professor
Absolutely.
Wadhwa. I know you have your next friend. We are waiting to meet you. He has
We,
come all the way
we should
from-
get him on the camera as well.
all the way from India.
Turn the camera
I'm not going to break the suspense. I'm going to show you who it is.
Celebrity.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with more stuff.
All the
And
best.
I'm hoping next time I can catch you at home and I can just give you a Zoom link and we can talk about something.
Sure, absolutely.
Hopefully, it's a 15-20 minute soundbite. It's a pleasure to have you on our channel. Thank you very much.
All right, Sri. All the best.
All the best, sir.
Thank you.